Hey everyone, in this video we're going to talk about the strange word ingest and copy. Okay, basically all it means is when I drag my raw footage or import it into my project, automatically, without me right clicking and doing anything fancy, Media Encoder is going to automatically ingest, okay, the footage and make a proxy. We'll also show you that if you're importing from, say, a camera, you can actually copy the file across onto your local drive and make a proxy at the same time. Let's talk about ingesting. All right, first up, let's close the project that we created in the last video, and we're going to create a new project. So technically, this is where you should talk about ingesting, okay, right at the beginning of a project. You can do it afterwards. I'll show you how, but you do it at this new project window. Okay, so we're going to give this a name. This is going to be my test project, because I'm going to go back to the other one. I got my test project. Where is it going to go? I'm going to stick it onto my desktop. Actually, no, I'll stick it back in that same folder. Okay, and this bit, ingest settings. Okay, you might not ever have been in here. Okay, so click on ingest, and I'm going to say ingest these videos. I would like, when you do ingest them, ingesting is a terrible word. That just means bringing them into Premiere Pro, importing. When I import these, okay, I want you to create a proxy. What kind of proxy? Okay, we're going to use H.264. Yours are going to be different in here because you might be on a PC, so you're unlikely to have ProRes, and also you might be in the future. They change these presets all the time. I'm going to use, just for in this case, H.264, okay, low res proxy, and it's going to put it in the same place as my project. Okay, a lot of the same stuff that we looked at before. The difference is the word ingest. Okay, and what happens is when I click OK, nothing really is different. It's when I go to the importing, I'm just going to double click down in my project. Okay, I'm going to go back to the exercise files, Tourism Island. Let's bring in the whole folder. What did we do before? We did, I'll just bring in the footage this time. Click import. What's going to happen is, here it is there. Hello guys, it's all there. What's different? Okay, what's happening in the background is that it is busy creating proxies. Okay, so it's opening up my Media Encoder. Okay, so where's Media Encoder? There it is there. They're all being added to it automatically. I'm not doing anything. It's created a proxies folder in there, and eventually it will say something like, well actually, I just normally wait for Media Encoder to do its thing. You can be a bit fancier and right click in this metadata here and go to metadata display. At the top here, type proxy. There it is there. I've already turned mine on. Yours will be off. Turn it on. Click OK. And along, you can scrub along here. Should be somewhere. Yours should be at the end because I've moved mine. Where's mine? Come on. There it is. See, offline. Wait, attached. It's going to do the last one. Okay, so if this is really important or you're doing a huge amount and you can't see Media Encoder, I don't know why you turn it on. It's an advanced class. We're learning advanced stuff. There is a proxy tab. Okay, and you can just drag it along if it's really important. Okay, to the front. They're all attached. So that's the difference. Ingesting just means instead of me right-clicking and saying make proxies, is every time I bring something in, just make a proxy based on that preset. So you, as the lonely editor, can just work on whatever comes in here, and you don't have to worry about kind of doing proxies every single time. So a couple of things to consider when you are doing proxies. The first one is, let's say that I don't do it at that file new project. I always forget, or I don't know that I need it because the project's not gonna, I assume it's gonna be fine, and then the computer starts running slow. So you can do this ingest afterwards. So let's close down this current one. We're all very good about it. Let's go back to that original one where we didn't turn on ingesting in that new window. Okay, so we did this manually. Let's say that we're going to import a bunch more footage. We can turn it on now by going to project settings. Okay, so it's under file, and there it is there, project settings, and general scratch disk ingest. We're going to go to ingest. It opens up that first screen again, back to where we were. Okay, but for this one, we're going to say you create proxies, back to where we were, same as project. Okay, so that's how you can turn it on afterwards. Now, if I import footage into my project, it will automatically make those proxies. One other thing to consider when you are dealing with proxies is where they end up. Okay, this project here is going to work great because it's same as project, and my project is saved on my local machine, on my laptop. Okay, you might be working off an external drive or some sort of like network attached storage or some sort of RAID fancy hard drive thing. Okay, you want to not save it with your project if you are saving onto that network drive. It is faster for Premiere Pro to read it off the local drive. So you might say, instead of same as project, choose location and put it on your documents, okay? Or on your desktop or something that is local to your machine, it'll run faster. The last thing that is pretty useful is under here, there's one called copy and create proxies. You can just use copy. Copy is kind of cool, but let's explore this one here. Okay, so we know what proxies are, but copy and create proxies is pretty cool. So what it means is I often, like I've got my mirrorless camera here that I do a lot of my recording on, okay, and it's got its own like little SD card. So instead of copying it off the SD card to my machine and then creating proxies, what you can do is both of those at the same time. Okay, there'll be other use cases where you need to copy as well as create proxies, but let's say I'm going to copy things off my hard drive as well as, so primary destination, this is like where my footage is going to go. So I'm going to choose my location. I'm going to say where it copies them off. It's going to go into my case, my footage folder, please. So copy them off my camera, put them into my amazing file structure, and the proxies can go in the same place, or they might go somewhere else. Okay, so copying them off that hard drive, okay, which in my case is off my camera, and make a proxy at the same time. Let's give it a test run. So let's plug the camera in. So there's my camera. Okay, untitled one, very good. Okay, and under this crazy directory structure is all the clips. And let's say that this is something that I've recorded. Okay, I want to bring it into my clip. It is both gonna import it, which is cool. It's also gonna copy it off my camera. And let's have a little look. Let's go back to my Premiere Pro. Let's go back to my exercise files. Let's go to Tourism Island. Here's my footage folder. And look, there it is there. It's being copied off. It's taken a while. It's pretty big. And wow, it's pretty big, but it's been copied off. Okay, and then hopefully a media encoder at that same time is busy encoding it. All right, so here's the file, the big version that's been copied off my camera onto my hard drive. And my proxy didn't end up in the right place. That was my fault. You probably saw it while I was doing it. Okay, remember under File, Project Settings, Ingest Settings, I said same as Project. So I guess I leave this in because this happens to me all the time. I'm like, oh, what's wrong? Because I forgot to change that. You'll do it. So mine are in where my project file is. So under my exercise files, Tourism Island, project files. There's my proxy, just lying about in there. I end up with all of them in here. Okay, so hey ho, that's it. But let's actually talk about some of these presets because there are presets built into here. It says it, it's a preset. So let's say you want to change your preset. There's kind of like two parts to it. And what I'll do is I'll carve it out into the next video. See you in a sec.